So today we are talking about round trip efficiency and depth of discharge, and why should you care? So the first most important factor to look at in this video is the depth of discharge that you are going to be able to get from your battery, which translated into normal English means usable power. So if we have a 10 kilowatt hour battery and it has a depth of discharge of 80%, it means that we cannot use the bottom 20% of the battery, which means that we have an 80% usable battery. If we have a depth of discharge of 90%, it means that we can use the top 90% of the battery and leave 10% of the battery's capacity, which is unusable. So in essence, if we have a 90% depth of discharge battery, we have 10% more usable power than a battery that is of the equivalent kilowatt hours, but has an 80% depth of discharge. The second factor that we are taking into consideration is round trip efficiency. In essence, what that means, for every 10 kilowatts of power that we put into the battery, how much power are we going to be withdrawing and how much energy are we going to lose by putting the power into the battery and taking it out. So if I just run through the numbers, if this battery was a 48 volt battery, which is very typical in the market, and it had an 80% depth of discharge, we immediately have only 8 kilowatt hours of usable power out of the battery. If we factor in another 15% energy loss into our battery, we then have 6.5 kilowatt hours of usable power out of that battery, because we lost 15% of our energy through heat loss and other factors of putting the battery in, or the energy in and out of the battery. If the battery was a higher voltage battery with a 90% depth of discharge, and it was, say, a 97% round trip efficiency, that would mean we'd only lose 3% of our battery's capacity when putting energy into the battery and taking it out. So in this example, we would then have a battery where it typically, for its depth of discharge, meant a useful capacity of 9 kilowatt hours with an energy loss of just 3%, meaning that we would have a battery that, if it was rated at 10 kilowatt hours, would mean that you have 8.7 kilowatt hours of usable power, compared to a 48 volt system that would have a rated capacity or a usable capacity of 6.5 kilowatt hours. So the purpose of this video is just to educate you guys on important factors about depth of discharge and round trip efficiency, and how this is going to impact your investment and the return that you are going to be getting from your system in a true, actual nature.